All right, everyone, thank you so much for coming out tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation tonight. So Blue Zones Project is really excited for this opportunity. Over the past 2 years, we've been working with built environment in our community and how we can make our place an easier place to walk and bike throughout Roseburg and the Umpqua Valley. And with Blue Zones Project, we've had some awesome work going on with the city and the county and all sorts of things going on. We're very fortunate to have access to some wonderful experts. And tonight, you're going to get a presentation from Dan Burton. He's the Director of Inspiration and Innovation for Blue Zones Project. He's worked for 35 years in the field in over 3,000 communities to help them more livable, walkable communities, which not only has increased economic vitality, but also health and other great things within these communities. So we're very fortunate to have it. We're coming here today from a long day at the library with professionals within the planning and engineering field, where we talked and discussed active transportation that's going on throughout all of Southwest Oregon. It was a wonderful day. We learned about some awesome projects that were going on within our region, with ODOT being there, Medford, a couple other local agencies, as well as some folks. We had a presenter from Klamath Falls that presented on some stuff that was really neat on health statistics in communities. But I really am very honored to introduce tonight Dan Burton, the Director of Inspiration and Innovation for Blue Zones Project, our national team. So go ahead, Dan.
Thanks, Kirk, and I guess it's all of Southern Oregon who's here, right? It feels like that. If I speak at this level, can everyone hear okay? Okay, then I'm going to step aside and jump right into a presentation that was put together special for this region and for the topic of economics and how livability and walkability are going to be the real drivers of future investments in communities. So I think it's going to be really important to understand at the outset that for about 60, 70 years, America's been building its cities for automobiles, not for people. All of that is about to shift. And Roseburg is going to be way ahead of many other communities because you're positioned with your work to do exactly that. That we're going to stop building stupid stuff and building smart stuff. Things that have always warmed the human heart and have always led to prosperity. So I want to set the tone or the stage that those towns that figure out the switch the first are the ones that are going to prosper. They're going to attract jobs, hold on to their own youth, bring new young people in, and be a great place to retire after living here for their lives. But I want to share with you, and I'm sorry that this bled off, I'm not sure why, where we've gone astray. If you were to hit this traffic queue at this time of morning, you're going to sit there for 20 minutes just for this one intersection. Notice there's a sign that says to walk, and there are sidewalks, and there are bike lanes. It's the whole system that was built for the automobile. Therefore, you can't move the automobile because there's no other option. And this happens to be the final approach to the high school in Maui. So this isn't one place. It's like everywhere we made these mistakes. Now, when I was still in high school, Jane Jacobs wrote her classic work on the death and life of great American cities, and actually gave us where we were going astray. That was over 50 years ago, almost 60 years ago. And those who understand that it's not about the automobiles, it's about our need to understand how cities work that will get us back on track. So you can have a place that's built wholly for the automobile, and you wouldn't want to walk there. Why would you? Or you can build a place that's built for people, and now it's a joy to live there, work there, shop there, play there, or pass by. It's that simple. Designing for the cars or designing for people. So, I want to do something fun. Can everyone here pretend it's the 1400s? Yes. Okay, good. So, is this a correct view of our solar system? Remember, it's the 1400s.
Oh, yes, oh, perfect.
It is. Everything revolves around planet Earth. But along come modern mathematics, Copernicus, Galileo, and other scientists, and they say it has to be this. This is the only thing that actually can work. And they were told, you're going to have a short life and you'll be tortured if you propose this. This is a very sad fact. There's recent data that up to 40% of Americans still believe this. And it's true. It's real data. That if you ask that question, a lot of people don't believe modern mathematics and science that supports things. I'm going to propose something even more ludicrous than what you just saw. What if this isn't true? What if it is not true? What if instead this is true? That if we build our cities, we build our neighborhoods, we build our buildings, we build everything for people. That's the key to a sound economy. And so, those of you who have been associated with Blue Zones already know this, that we're now focused on how to build streets for everyone, for everything, and always do that. And by doing that, we're going to have much healthier people, happier people, and a stronger economy as we go forward. I think it's important to point out that you'll see advertising saying, you know, if you just drive through our window, you're going to have this wonderful face-to-face experience. Has anyone had one of those? This is real life experience occurs. It's very natural. It just happens instantly. If we build the street right and support mom, pop business and so on, all of a sudden people bump into one another. The more people you bump into in a day, the happier you become. It's just true. The less fear that gets invoked. And so what we're saying is that if we go back, rewind the clock, 100 years or more even, then we're going to find out that everything is about having small places, neighborhood scale, small town America, where people can just naturally be in charge of their future and feel good about all of the things that make their cities work. This is my grandson Jack, probably before he could actually push off on his own. Today he's 12 years old. He bikes everywhere. He just has this wonderful neighborhood that he can grow up in. And that's what people want. They want that for their own grandchildren or their children. But when we get older, we also never want to give up the ability to walk. It's a human right. It's a human need. So let's talk about the economics, because that's what's going to drive the engine. If you compare two cities, Portland, Oregon on the left, or Atlanta, Georgia on the right, between 1980 and 1990, Portland was able to drop property taxes 29%. Their air pollution went way down, and the quality of their neighborhoods went up. That same exact time block, Atlanta had to raise their taxes 22%. Their air got worse, and their quality of their neighborhoods went down. One pursued walkability, the other pursued the automobile. Will do everything for it to keep it moving, and it's now one of the worst places to drive an automobile in America as a result. One of my favorite economist today, also an urban designer, Joe Minikazi, has done amazing research, and he's saying we should be looking at a city on yield per acre. And if we can increase the value of an acre up to this level, or even clear up to this level in a downtown, then we're on the right track. And it's all about how we design. It's very important to understand what this really means. So when we think about the yield per acre, we're really talking about the difference between this and this. 800% more income is derived by building for people. There's a brand new book out. I've only read a portion of it so far, but it's a powerhouse called Strong Towns. And what they're saying is really absolutely on target, that we have to be creative. We have to use the ideas that return us to the past, actually, to hold on to the strength of our towns if we're going to have a strong economy. So think about it, for the whole county, if we could eliminate the need for 15,000 cars, and that's very doable for a county of this population, another $127 million would stay in the town to be spent every year on things that people would consume locally. And hopefully, with more mom and pop stores, that would stay in the community and recycle and recycle. So these are basic things. When we put our money into a car, it goes off to Detroit or Tokyo or somewhere else. And if we instead walk, bike, use transit more, that doesn't mean getting rid of all our cars. It just means don't be so auto-dependent that we don't have any choice in transportation. It also comes down to how much it costs to run a city. In the case on the left, with a well-connected city, and the core parts of Roseburg are this, then it only costs about $159 a year per household for fire service. But if we use this broken pattern, which parts of the county and the city are, then it costs $740 for that same service. You multiply that times police service, deliveries, utilities, and everything, you begin to realize building for people is the only way to have a sustainable economy. It's the only thing that can cancel out. One of my favorite organizations in the country, the Michigan Municipal League, put this all together in a beautiful book focusing on placemaking. And so let's talk about that a little bit. Placemaking is really converting places that had no high value because of the way we spread everything out into beautiful little pockets that we can now be in love with. Could be the Main Street. It could be some other area that we developed. I found this one in Portland. They just blew out the side of a building and put in a nice little coffee place. Have any of you been able to eat here? It's a wonderful little spot. But this is what people want. It's what they've always wanted, to have this. But also, we need to think through all of our age spectrum. I don't know this woman's age, but she's got to be getting close to 90. And it's absolutely true. Not only is it healthier, it's the way to live lightly on the planet and not to be having spent all your money on how you get around. I think it's also important to point out that because real estate markets have shifted dramatically, that the CEOs of America have determined that if you live in a walkable community, that is, if you have a higher point, it's a scale, 0 to 100. How many of you know your own walk score? You can Google it and find it in a heartbeat. What's yours?
86.
86. That's extraordinarily high. Even in my town, and I carefully picked my town, my walk score is only 71. So your home is worth more than mine, relatively speaking, because of being walkable. right? I want to point out a mistake that we've been making. Our departments of transportation have been trying to improve the levels of service for moving cars. So they will spend a lot of money to achieve this result. You could take this amount of money, which is a lot of money, and change all of this into a walkable space. The same amount of money devoted to a city to make it more walkable and livable would improve the value of the entire city phenomenally. I mean, just total change the picture of the world. In order to do that, we need to measure different things. So instead of having a beaker just to measure how well we move our cars, we need a beaker on how many children walk to school, how green our city is, how easy it is to get across the street, all of these things. And so if we want more of this, we keep measuring this. If we want more of this, we measure this. And we end up with the results that we see. One of the things that I'm most interested in, I'm 75 now, is that when I have to give up the car, most males have to live out the last 7 of their years of life not being able to drive a car. Women, it's not that good. The last 12 years of their lives, because they live longer. We need to think about that and where people can live and how they can have that independence in their aging years. So Walk Score, which I've just measured, you can find the app. It's easy enough to measure. You can go block by block, or you go city by city, or quadrant by quadrant. Now let's talk about how we can bring back the jobs. This is my wife Liz, and my grandson, now probably 10 at that time. And our quest is to be able to have this quality of life, to be able to share our lives with our own offspring. And in order to do that, we got to turn around the economy of our community. Smaller towns are easier to turn around. They really are. And so if we want to attract the jobs and be able to be with our children and grandchildren, then we need to focus on that. I don't want to overlook health. These are real pictures. This is America. Nobody had to pose those pictures. These are real places. And so we've come up with the knowledge that if we want to have good health, our cities shape that health. Can everybody still hear me? Okay. Those of you who are familiar with the Blue Zone statistics, very well researched. 80% of our health is up to us. It's not genetic. 20% is genetic, but the rest of it is under our control.
So if you can face this direction more when you speak.
Let me try that.
Okay.
If I'm in the middle, is that better, folks? How about here? I'll do that. Good. Thank you.
Just look right at her.
Okay. The first Blue Zone community, Albert Lee, Minnesota, they're into we're into their 9th year now. They're not directly receiving money from Blue Zones any longer, but they keep building new things because the goal of Blue Zones is to be able to sustain a program after the money is being poured in. To have the built environment committee, to have all of the working knowledge about how to do things. And so they had a 5-lane road here that the state said they're going to just resurface it and keep it 5 lanes. But because the community was already together, they were able to knock it down to 2 lanes, put in the roundabout, and as soon as the project was finished, the prices came down 76%. New businesses were able to come in because they were now building cheap. So Albert Lee has a lot of things we've been able to learn from and share with all of our Blue Zones. By the way, we're up to 50 Blue Zones communities now. Looks like we'll be launching another 2, so we'll be up to 52 probably by the end of the year. And to that community, we were able to raise the life expectancy by 3.2 years for the whole city. Everyone is amazing, right? Muscatine, Iowa had this 5-lane road, and when we went in and worked with them again, after Blue Zones left, they still had their structure to carry on, and this is now what they're going to build. Hope it comes through. Just 20. Very similar. Oh shucks, it's not going to work. It's beautiful what they did. I'm going to let you use your imagination.
Wow.
But they brought in $425 million, and the city manager recently told me, no, Dan, it's $1 billion that came to town. You don't need to learn anything. Okay. So, think about the block where you live. If the traffic volumes are light, if the speeds are moderate or low, you should have, based on this statistic, approximately 3 twins on your block. But if your traffic volumes get higher, the noise and all the other problems, then your number of friends go down to 0.09. It's important how we design the streets and operate the streets. I was able to work with this small town in Florida, Fort Pierce,